Zach, just a few from me. Can I start off by asking you, the last two games have been amazing, and what influence Nigel has had?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've done well on the road the last couple of games. I mean, I know there's obviously it's the same group of players. You know, we still been working just as hard. Obviously with the old gaffer, everyone loved him, and it was obviously a decision that was made. And as footballers, we have to just chug on to the next, onto the next game. And obviously, the new gaffer's come in, and he's been a positive influence on everyone. And I think the main focus has been on results. And obviously, we've been able to go out there and get them in the last two games.
And scoring goals, this league in particular, if you score goals, you will do well in this league. I mean, that's proven down the years. You know, the teams that win promotion are always the really heavy scoring ones. Now you're beginning to score more goals. Is there a feeling you could make up that gap to the playoffs?
I mean, yeah, we obviously had a goal set out at the start of the season, and obviously along the season, there's moments where goals will change slightly. At the moment, we honestly can't look to anything. I know that's such a cliche, just saying look to the next, but it is true in this aspect, and it does apply to us. So we are just looking to the next. We'll go from there.
What do you make of Bournemouth? Because they came down and along with Norwich and Watford, I think many people were expecting to be the three teams to catch, and yet they seem to have had a very stop-start season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know they're a good team. They've got good players. We had a good game with them last time we played them down there. Obviously conceding late on in the last 10 minutes of the game or so, it was pretty sickening. But we know they pose a lot of good threats, and we have to focus on those threats, but also focus on ourselves going into the game and how we can affect the game, and how we can go and get the 3 points like we've done in the last two. But like you say, yeah, they're obviously a good side with a lot of quality throughout the team.
I mentioned goals earlier, just a couple more. Firstly, your strike force. I mean, I know Naki Wells for the best part of a decade has always scored goals. For Mara Jeju, I mean, I was there earlier in the season when he scored a Rooney-like goal to win a game for you at Ashton Gate. It was from outside the area, lashed it, and it was brilliant. In terms of him, how vital is he going to be between now and the end of the season? Because he seems to have now really got on a good run.
Yeah, of course, Fam's a big part of our squad. He's obviously a big part of our team, and obviously with the goals he scored this season, but also with the other bits of his play. He does a lot of work for the team. He fights and he scraps up there, and I think he likes that. And he obviously poses a big threat from kind of a few areas of the pitch, really. So you're right, yeah. Obviously we've got Nax, who scores a lot of goals, and Fam, who will chip in as well and score a few goals, and he also does the dirty side of the work. So he's a big part of our squad.
And just one more from me. The end of the season could see fans returning, which means if you make the playoffs, fans coming back to Ashton Gate. Now, that's got to be a bit of an incentive. I know you're only looking at each game as it comes, and you don't want to look too far beyond Bournemouth. But for all the clubs outside of the top 3 or 4 in the Championship, that has to be an incentive that, if you get to the playoffs, there could be fans back for semi-finals and the final at Wembley.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fans being back in the stadium is something that all footballers are looking forward to whenever that's going to come. So if that is a situation where you're in the playoffs and it comes in the playoffs, it'll be a massive boost for anybody. Having been able to have your home fans back in the ground is going to be a massive lift for the last 15, 20 minutes of a game when you want to push on and get a goal, or if you're trying to hold out for a goal, it's going to be a massive boost for everybody, and it's something that us especially want to happen soon. So yeah, it'll be a massive incentive for anybody to be looking forward to. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Lovely to have met you. Thank you, Gregor, and thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Zach, tell us about your contribution to the game on Saturday. In particular, talking about in the second half when you sort of nicked the ball in midfield, charged into the area. We spoke to Steve Cooper after the game, and he thought that was the moment when the match actually swung. Obviously, it led to the equalising goal, but Talk us through your contribution there.
Yeah, it was a moment where obviously at half time we changed the shape a little bit to get an extra man in midfield and kind of add a bit more energy into there and getting amongst them a little bit more. You know, I think obviously we were under the cosh for the first half, but we were definitely well in the game in the second half. You know, and like you say, I managed to intercept the ball, and I think the centre half didn't really expect me to press him again, and obviously got on the end of it, and Naki finished it off brilliantly. So it was obviously a great moment, and yeah, it maybe swung the momentum a little bit to kind of give us a bit of an edge. And obviously, like you saw, the other two goals were like goals that we're going to take happily. Casey Whitman from a corner, and Ant's working his socks off to get on the end of a goal kick, a kickoff, I guess, a goal kick. But yeah, no, it was a good moment for me and obviously for the team.
Forgive me if this is a stupid question, but when you crossed that to Naki Wells, did you know you were crossing it to Naki, or were you just trying to put it into a certain area?
I've been asked this. I have been asked this. So I saw T running in, but I heard on the edge. I had a little look up, and I heard it must have been Naki, but I heard a few voices screaming edge. So I've obviously just tried to put it in that area for T to maybe run onto it. If he missed it, then Naki was following up, or someone, whoever it was on the edge, was following up. But yeah, I definitely heard the shot to put it back. So those were my intentions. Yeah.
Nice one. It worked, didn't it? It was a great finish from Naki. So well played. And then after the game, the fans have loved those scenes of you guys all being in the huddle there. Without telling us what was discussed in that huddle, can you give us like a sense of what the chat was, or the message?
Mainly just about the spirit that we showed to get back in the game, and the spirit of the team, and how we want to stay determined throughout the rest of the season. You know, like that, we have to, even if we, like you say, go 1-0 down, we have to keep spirits high and keep pushing on, and we have enough quality in our team to go and punish teams like Swansea. You know, so we it was mainly about the spirit and determination that we showed to get ourselves back in the game and do it together, you know, as a collective unit.
How would you describe the last couple of days on the training pitches and since Nigel Pearson has come in?
Yeah, it's been good. You know, we worked on a few things. Obviously, we haven't had too many days out there because of the game schedule, but we've managed to get out there and work on a few things, and you know, he's managed to kind of implement himself into the team and into the squad and the club. So yeah, it's been good, positive.
And just on Dean Holden, obviously we know football is the way it works. Obviously, it's a results business, and if you don't get the results, unfortunately, these things happen. And Dean has had to move on. But what will you take from his time in charge? He was obviously here as the head coach for 7 months. How will you remember his time?
Yeah, that's positive. Obviously, I know he was head coach for less time, but he was obviously assistant for a long time. So I've known him for a long time, and I've got a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for him. You know, he gave me a proper run in the team, and I'll obviously always be thankful for that. And I've always looked back on the time that me and him have shared together very, very positively. So I learned a lot in the last, I think it's been 4.5, maybe close to 5 years now that I've been working with him, and I've learned so much. So yeah, there's a lot to be grateful and thankful for.
And obviously, just finally on yourself, we've said this before, it's sort of almost been like a breakthrough season in some regards, because you're starting so many games. You've got that versatility. You can play in several different positions. How do you sum up your own season so far?
Yeah, I like to think it's been quite positive. Like I said, I've played a lot of games. I think the performances have been quite good. So I'm looking to just kick on now, and there's 12, 13 games left, and 13 games left. So we're just trying to get as many games under my belt as much as I can, and like you say, just keep the performance level as high as I can. You know? So yeah, it's been, for me, if I look back positively, on how it's gone so far.
Nice one. Good luck for Wednesday. Keep it going, Zach.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Later.